Customer service is understanding the real pulse of what the customer needs at the end of the day. Consumers adopting digitalization and this whole thing of Uberization, Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world changed the way customer looks at it. If I decide not to go ahead with the policy, I expect a refund within an hour. How can we give them the same amount of experience at each and every touch point? So I think in the last 5 to 6 years we've built tremendously on this capability. 92% of our customers prefer to do transactions digitally. They started to move away from just being a payer of money to the nominee in terms of hand-holding with the customer and focusing on his health and wellness. Hyperpersonalization will definitely come in, but how can we give the control in the hands of the customer is going to be the key.
Welcome to The Cover Story, a podcast series by Tata Life Insurance, where we speak to our leaders, advisors, customers, employees, and more to go behind the cover in understanding life insurance. Today, we're joined by Sanjay Arora, who's the Chief of Operations at Tata Life Insurance, and we will be discussing how digital innovation, transparency, and custom-first strategies are shaping the life insurance industry and what Tata Life Insurance is doing to set itself apart. Now, on to the main conversation. Sanjay, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you for having me on this podcast.
How are you feeling?
Oh, absolutely great.
Good?
Yep.
Sanjay, we're going to talk about a topic which is could be a little dreaded for people, customer service and engagement. What do you think of customer service as a topic or a domain in general?
Yeah, I really don't know, Deepak, why is this topic really dreaded? I think this is one of the most passionate topics where people from all spectrums can actually talk about it a lot because they themselves are customer in one shape or the form.
Right.
And everybody has their own set of notions in terms of what are they expecting either from a banking industry, maybe a insurance, or even for that matter, something like a telecom industry or the Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world. So therefore, everyone is a customer and everyone expects service to be delivered in a certain way and so on. And therefore, I don't think so it would be a dreaded one. But I think this is a topic where everyone would have views about what is customer service and how it should be looked at. From me, customer service is understanding the real pulse of what the customer needs at the end of the day. Because there are a lot of customers who are not able to communicate in terms of what do they want. And sometimes people, if they communicate, then they are a little bit emotional in terms of what do they actually want at the end of the day. So it's going behind the customer, understanding the psyche of each individual customer, understanding what do they want from us as an insurance company, and then staying true to it, staying honest to it. Is in nutshell what customer service is the way I define customer service.
Right.
And if you see the insurance company, I've been here for the last 20 years in the insurance industry. I think the customer service and expectations of the consumers from an insurance company has seen tremendous amount of change, significant amount of. A lot of thanks to COVID, thanks to the digital push from the government of India, a lot of things have moved across digitally. Consumers adopting digitalization, and this whole thing of Uberization, Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world or the Swiggies of the world has really changed the way customer looks at it, at these things. Instant gratification has become very key. That's one of the biggest important levers or important ask when it comes down to an insurance company as well.
Okay.
And that's a significant shift that I've seen across. I'll give you a small example, an anecdote, and I'm jumping off the gun it's at the start of the conversation itself. In earlier days, when a customer applies for a policy and, if the policy does not go through, we would refund the money back to the customer. Typically, a refund process would take around about 7 to 8 days where the customer would get the money into his bank account or from wherever he's paid. But of late, the kind of conversations we're having with customers or the complaints, the expectation is if I decide not to go ahead with the policy, I expect a refund within an hour.
Yeah.
Why is this so? Because today, if you do a refund of anything in Swiggy, I did that last evening, in fact, within 24 minutes or 25 minutes, the money was there in my wallet. So the similar expectation is that of an insurance product. Well, insurance product is much more long-term in nature, 20, 30 years, whereas Swiggy is one small transaction of 100, 200, 300 max. But the expectation is in terms of how do you gratify it as soon as possible into the customer's bank account. And that is what we are seeing with almost all our consumers, not only at the service stage, But if somebody is buying a policy, how soon can I issue a policy? If somebody is expecting a change of address or any servicing, how soon can you deliver it for me? Accuracy and all that is given these days. It's how soon can you service me?
It has to be
Even at
fast.
claims as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a dynamic change I've seen across in the last 20 years with this industry.
Couple of questions, Sanjay.
Yeah.
You've opened the Pandora's box already. In terms of understanding customer expectation, you rightly pointed out that there are expectations that have changed over the last couple of
Yeah.
years. I especially very specifically like the word Uberization, which is just so many. Everything has just become into an app. How does the customer expectation change, and how does Tata AI adapt to these changes so quickly? Because there are different categories of customers that you guys cater to. So how does that adaptation happen, and that too at pace?
There are multiple aspects that you have touched upon in terms of how do we keep up to the change, and second thing is in terms of the various customer segments do we
Correct.
are, because what a 35-year-old guy is expecting is not something what the 60-year-old guy is expecting. And if you look at our customer segmentation, we cater to a 18-year-old person to a guy or a customer who's at 65, 70 as well, and therefore the needs are much different. When you talk about these customer segments, so I'll touch upon that the first, and then come across in terms of how we are delivering it.
Absolutely.
I think the way we've gone across is, first we've gone ahead and realized one thing is that we need to give an omni-channel experience to our customers. So if a customer who walks into a branch, if a customer walks into a branch of our partners, if a customer calls up an IVR, a customer services on our WhatsApp or this thing, how can we give him the same amount of experience at each and every touch point? So I think over the last 5 to 6 years, we've built our digital capabilities along with our physical capabilities on the branch side so that we can actually cater up to him. To give you a small example, now if a customer walks into a branch, the branch executive will be able to position him. And if Deepak, you're a customer, and if you walk into a branch tomorrow and you haven't updated your nominee, the branch guy will be prompted to actually speak to you about your nominee and get that updated. Now, say tomorrow you don't walk into a branch, but you call up a call center. The call center would also be nudged across to ask you the same question. The third day, suppose you log into our digital app, it will nudge you that you haven't updated your nominee. So how can the customer get the same experience across the multiple touch points that he comes across? So I think in the last 5 to 6 years, we've built tremendously on this capability. The second thing we've gone ahead is actually doing a lot of personalization as well. Right, in terms of how do we converse with the customer at the call center, but going beyond and saying, what kind of a banner should I show to a consumer? So if he's an 18-year-old guy, how should the banner be? If you have a brand ambassador, have him being a healthy, active life, and therefore he's exercising and so on. But the moment he's a 55-year-old guy, have a senior citizen in front of him so that he can correlate. A guy with a 35 to a 40, have a person with a family, and so on and so forth. So in terms of the images that we use, the context, the messaging that we use, it's all depending upon, it's personalized a lot for him. The offers that we give for our products, the moment the customer comes for doing a service, is also hyper-personalized to that extent. Now, what we've done in order to deliver this is obviously the whole marketing aspect in terms of segmenting them into various cohorts, understanding market behaviors. But what is more important for us to do is continuously test out in terms of, are we on the right path? Showing a banner to Deepak, showing a separate banner to Sanjay, and seeing whether is it working or not working. And if it's not working, then change quickly. You don't need to keep the same banner for 3 months and 4 months. 15 days, test it out. If it's working, fine. If it's not, let's change. So what are we doing is we're being more agile, thinking on the fly, and actually then going back to the customer, testing it out whether it's working or not working, and then change it actually if it's not. And then seeing whichever is causing us more success and sticking on with that. So therefore, a lot of these A/B testings have really helped us. And from a delivery mechanism, I think we are one company I can talk about. We've truly adopted the agile ways of working. The whole agile squads between the technology team, operations, marketing, sales, developing these agile squads, having daily scrums So that's the ways of working. The first part I spoke about is more on the technology and the customer segmentation.
Correct.
But the people aspect of it has also helped us to scale it much faster, test out things faster, and move ahead in life.
You mentioned about hyper personalization.
Yeah.
There are not just thousands of customers, there are millions of customers that you guys cater to.
Yes.
In terms of personalization to millions of customers, how does that happen? What's the process like? You mentioned about catering to an 18-year-old versus a 55-year-old versus a 35-year-old. The personalization will be different.
Yep.
So how does that happen? That process happen? What's the KPI that there is to look at?
While I said we've gone into a hyper personalization, but still, we are long way away. As of right now, we've bunched them into cohorts, and basis the cohorts, we're running those testings across in terms of what would an 18 to a 25-year-old guy want from a 25 to a 35-year-old customer, 35 to a 45. I think right now we are investing capabilities in leveraging Gen AI and AI ML models to go down at a consumer segment level by analyzing all the past 5 to 7 years of data that we have in the true digital form, customizing the needs and being really hyper personalized to each and every consumer. So right now, still at a cohort level is the way we work when it comes down to operations and customer service. But the time has come to actually get it onto a hyper personalized in a consumer level. We've tons of data starting 2017 and 18. We were the earlier adopters of digitalization in the insurance industry. So we have rich data of our consumers since 2017-18. So how do we leverage communications, the data across all our touch points, be it when he bought the policy, how did he buy it, if he's serviced, where did he get it serviced from, within how many days actually does he pick up a call, how many attempts does he pick up the call, when is the next payment due, maturity, servicing, and all those aspects. We have tons amount of data. With the help of our analytics team, we are actually building models to understand if a customer of 18 age with staying in Mumbai, who's bought a term insurance plan, what is his next expectation, and then delivering it up to it. So those are work in progress as we speak right now. But I think leveraging data of the last so many years is going to help us to get those hyper personalizations, what we're talking about.
How does the communication happen? How do you communicate with the end consumer?
So there are multiple ways we communicate to the end consumer. Off late, our communications are more on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Then followed by email and SMSs. RCS is something which is really coming up. But there are multiple points that we have identified in the whole consumer journey, right? When the consumer starts from learning a product till the time he buys, service, and exits. So there are various touch points we have identified, and communications are 99% sent digitally, except where we don't have a few details, then we send those hard letter communications.
Has there ever been, and I'm sure there has there ever been a case where there's been insight on customers where customers are like, can you please stop calling?
Yeah. So, in fact, there was recently a customer who wrote an email to me and another Mancom member of ours talking about too many communications being bombarded to him. And these communications, when we analyzed it, these communications were both in the form of service communications as well as marketing communications. Correct. That we send to consumers. So obviously, the service communications were more around keeping his policy in force and therefore he paying premiums. And we go all out to contact a customer and get the renewal premium. At the same point of time, we have marketing communications being sent to customers to engage them. Correct. Because insurance is a contract which is 20, 30 years, as I mentioned before. And typically a consumer and insurer would only converse at the time of paying the premiums. Correct. Which is once in a year, depending on the mode, largely once in a year. So how do you engage with the consumer so that he knows about Tata AI Life, he knows about our products and service offerings, and he continues to pay a renewal premium? And the insurance needs changes over the life cycle of a customer. So therefore, it's important for us to engage with them. So there are times where the engagement, be it on the marketing side, on the service side, are overwhelming from an insurance point perspective. And hence we are looking at in terms of, how should we leverage our past data and understand what customer, when to communicate, how to communicate, and identify those trigger points so that those communications are apt and not bombard a customer.
So what kind of a customer does give you a call saying, stop calling? Is it like the younger customer? Is there what insight that you can share in terms of operations?
Typically, there are two kinds of customers that I have seen who come across to us a lot. One is the super HNI cases.
Okay.
We've seen time and again HNI customers calling us up or emailing us or WhatsApping or whatever be the mode, or passing it through the feedback through our distributors that we should stop calling them.
Okay.
Now, if one sees the insurance life cycle, we call a customer at the time of onboarding to understand whether he's fully bought into the product that he's buying. Second is once he's submitted the policy, you call him for medicals because typically HNI cases are big cover and therefore you need to do medicals. So you call him up for that. Then during the servicing stage, you call him up for renewal payments and so on. And therefore, an HNI customer typically come back and says, don't need to give me a call. I will manage things on my own.
How do you tackle that?
So the way we look around this, so as of right now, to be very honest, we're still finding out ways of how do we tackle that. Because for us, having that engagement with the customer is important.
Correct.
It's very important for us to ensure that he continues to pay the premiums. It's important that he pays the premium.
Right.
I'll give you a classic example. In the recent, natural incident disaster which happened, recently, there was one of our customers who had lapsed his policy.
Okay.
And he happened to be he happened to die in that incident. The family members are not going to get any premium because the policy was lapsed. Now, had he continued to pay the premium on time with us, the family members would have got the sum assured, would have got the benefit. So it's very important, more from a consumer standpoint, that he pays premium on a regular basis. It's equally important for us because our long-term profitability is dependent upon policies being persistent, being paid
Correct.
premium. So it's important for both of us. So therefore, we would want to establish contact with him. Now, what we've done over the period of time is, with these HNI segments specifically, is we rely on more and more communications which are much more digital in nature rather than being pervasive of calling up the customer.
Okay.
So send him a digital WhatsApp messages, send him nudges on the mobile app, send him email communications across so that he can pay the premiums rather than us calling him up. So that's one simple way of doing it. But I think it's just a start for us in terms of how do we engage with the customer.
Have you seen a shift in customer satisfaction when you've done both these cases?
We've not done specifically any correlation in this.
Okay.
But what we have seen is a customer who is able to do transactions digitally on its own is a highly satisfied customer. The score stands out. We've not done whether calling versus digital servicing, which one is better off. But in general, if one goes to see, a customer who's able to do his transactions digitally is much more satisfied as compared to a customer who you ask to visit a branch to do certain processing or of that kinds.
Right.
So that's the trend that we've seen across at a high level.
Sanjay, I want to talk about innovations because there's been a surge of digital innovations, especially in the financial services domain. What has Tata AI done in terms of these innovations, in terms of improving, say, accessibility or convenience for customers?
See, on the innovation side, I think our journey started a couple of years back in terms of how can we onboard the customers right. We were the first one in the industry a couple of years back, in fact more than that, to introduce something called as a video verification mechanism whereby a customer, before he actually gets the policy issued, he comes on a call and actually does a verification and states that I understand what I bought and I need to pay for 10 years. This is the sum assured that I get. So we launched this somewhere in 17-18 if I'm not wrong. And off late what we did was, we said, rather than this video coming in and we verifying at the back end, why can't a Gen AI bot actually verify it on the fly when the customer is sitting and recording this conversation for us? And what we have seen is we've built a bot, works in 12 different languages. We built it in record time of 2 months. The bot itself validates it, and it's with a very high success rate. So what has this resulted into? Our issuance times have reduced. Our friction between the distributor, the consumer, as well as the insurer has reduced because the consumer, while recording a video, comes to know he's read the script correctly or not, rather than we reading it after 24 hours and telling him this is not right, re-record it. So the friction and the experience has increased, but the friction has reduced between us and it. So we were the first ones to implement a Gen AI bot for such verifications. We were the first ones in the industry to launch WhatsApp Pay, where a customer using the WhatsApp media of us can pay his renewal premium without having to move out of WhatsApp and come onto a premium payment gateway or to Google and actually make a payment. So our whole innovation exercise is such that how can we make, keeping our consumer in the center, how can we identify opportunities where we can make the life of our consumers easy and give control in the hands of the consumer. WhatsApp is one, video PSC bot that I spoke is another one. Giving you an example, Tasha, our chatbot. If you go to see our chatbot with 99% accuracy rate, where the consumer can act, it's a Gen AI LLM bot, where the consumer can actually do his transactions, get his servicing request through a bot without having, a human sitting behind it, and get all their queries answered. There are many, many such innovations that we talk about. How do we actually underwrite cases? So 3 examples that I gave you were more on the front end, consumer facing. But there are examples where we have used Gen AI, when we have used AI ML models for automating our backend.
Okay.
Helping us save on cost, but then it has customer benefits as well. We are able to process transactions faster, give consistent decisions as well. So we've automated our backends using AI ML as well. So obviously, consumer doesn't see it, but the benefit is there with the customer. So we've implemented something called of using medical digitized records and giving a decision on medical decisions. Normally, you see an insurance company will give decisions on financial matters.
Correct.
But here, there is a machine which actually reads the medical records of a consumer and says he's fit to be insured. And we do that all digitally without a human actually undergoing through it.
Has this ever gone wrong?
Yes. See, no technology is foolproof.
Correct.
So we have situations where things have gone wrong, but then the percentage of them is quite minuscule and well within our tolerance levels.
Got it.
And that's where the constant learning and passing on these feedbacks, to the models really helps us so that we can fine tune with every refresh cycle that we do.
So when you said that there is the payment also happens through WhatsApp, and then there are chatbots, and then there's Tasha, what is the insight that you have on the back end that makes you do and operate multiple models? What tells you that, hey, we need a chatbot named Tasha? What tells you that we need to operate on WhatsApp and not on any other platform? What's the metric that you're looking at? What's the insight you're looking at basis which you're taking this decision?
When we started a journey a couple of years back, when into 2021, we started a whole, the tech transformation journey in Tata AI Life, the second phase of transformation,
Right.
I would call it, since the time I've been there. The first phase of transformation was 15 and 2021 was the second one. I think we were very clear at that point in time that because that was the COVID time, 2020 and 21. So therefore, our base genesis was we need to go digital for everything that we do. It has to be digital first itself. And we need to, and considering that we operate in pan-India, we're not only limited to the top 100 or top 200 where mobile penetration of smartphone is much higher, but even we go beyond that, we need to give them an omnichannel experience. That was the clear thought process when we started the transformation in 2020. And therefore came into new technologies in terms of let's get WhatsApp Pay. We were the first ones, in fact, to do that. And therefore a constant evaluation by our innovation team, which is a separate team in our company, to identify new technologies and see in terms of how can we adopt them. And we don't mind failing. We really don't mind, failing in a certain pilot of ours or doing a proof of concept and says, sorry, this is not successful. I can tell you, we've done multiple such programs where we have failed because the technology was not great, not scalable, or the consumers did not adopt it. But that does not shy away from taking on such new projects and identifying what will work, what will not work. Develop it fast, roll it out faster, test it out. Fails, no worries.
Fail fast, fix fast.
Absolutely. That's been our whole mindset. And the metrics that we use, since you spoke about the metrics, so a few metrics that we track is how many % of our customers actually do transactions digitally as compared to previous month, previous year, and all that stuff, vis-a-vis compared to how many prefer to do physically by walking into a branch or calling up.
Do you have any numbers that you have in
For
mind?
example, 92% of our customers prefer to do transactions digitally. They come and do digitally. So if I get 100 requests, 92 of those requests come through a digital mode. The balance come through a physical mode while walking into a branch and so on. And we would want customers to walk in. So we're not saying don't walk into a branch. But there are customers who would prefer to walk into a branch. For example, my father is 79 years old. Today's day and age as well, he, despite having Tata policies of other insurance companies and banking, he still prefers to walk into a bank branch and get his transactions done. It's the comfort that he gets across. So therefore, we have a branch where the customer can walk in, but still 92% of our customers prefer doing transactions digitally. That's a fantastic number that by all miles.
So that's one metric that you mentioned.
Yeah.
In terms of WhatsApp vis-a-vis offline. Any other metric
WhatsApp
that you...
would include our consumer portal, our consumer app.
Right.
He doing it on the IVR. What is not counted in it? If he walks into a branch or he gives us a call, those are not. Those are the balance 8%. The best 92% either on the app or WhatsApp or Tasha chatbot or the consumer portal that he comes across.
What's the most common customer query you've gotten and you're tired of hearing this query?
There's no one such query. There are a lot of requests, a lot of queries that come across, but there's not one such. But I would want to hear a query, which I'm not getting it on the call center or this thing.
Okay.
In terms of how much am I eligible for and how much have I bought. I would prefer to hear that one. But unfortunately, that's not the query that we get on a call center. A large part of our request is in terms of getting the policy bond or getting the statements of renewal premiums or tax certificates that they would want to do it. Those are the kind of requests that we get more often, and therefore those are completely digitalized. But I would want to hear a query if a customer calls up and says, have I been insured completely and correctly or not? But unfortunately, we don't do that.
Hopefully, after this episode, we might just get there.
Yeah.
Sanjay, we spoke about getting customers on board and retaining them, but that's one aspect of things. The other aspect, of course, is getting new customers.
Yeah.
So how do you balance between the two, and if you could just share an anecdote in terms of what Tata AI does in terms of maintaining a balance between the two? One is getting more customers, which is outside of your existing customers, and the two is already existing customers, you engage them, and how do you maintain the balance?
See, from an ops perspective, it's more about engaging with the existing customers, retaining them, ensuring that they continuously pay premiums. If somebody comes and wants to do a surrender or stopping premiums, how do we keep them retained in our organization, and ensuring claims get paid out? So that's what I predominantly focus on. But as you rightly said, there's a big portion of getting in new customers, which is where the distribution team, the marketing team works across in identifying new segments of consumers, new propositions which can attract these customers, working closely with the bank partners and saying which are the untapped segments in your bank, be it the liability, be it the asset, be it the rural segment where we can go and sell policies across, and then customizing product propositions to attract them. So I think that's a job done by the marketing and the distribution folks. And both are equally important. If you don't get new customers, operations team will be jobless from that perspective.
Right.
So both are equally important in our scheme. I predominantly focus on the servicing aspects, and that's where we need to, as I mentioned across, is need to continuously engage with our customers. If you see insurance versus bank is very intense transactions, or rather transaction. You would go to a bank every day, or you would transact with the UPI or with your mobile app on every day or every week for that matter, and you would have 100 transactions in a month or more than that.
Correct.
Whereas if you see an insurance company, it's only one transaction in the full year, or it's a maturity transaction, or it's a death claim transaction, or it's a surrender transaction, and those transactions are really intense in nature. So it's an intense transaction versus a transaction intense. A bank will have 1,000 transactions for a customer in a year versus an insurance only one transaction. But those are really intense conversation because the customer would want to know, have I bought the right product? Should I continue paying the premiums? Or if it's a claim transaction, then it's really an emotional one where you're talking to the nominee because he's gone through an unfortunate incident. He needs the money now. He does not know what money will he get, when will he get it, and you have to handhold it. So our transactions are very much intense in nature. And therefore, what we've done over these years from an engagement perspective is in terms of what are the kind of levers do we need to work with our consumers? How can we have more frequent conversations with them? And therefore, we as a company are starting to move away from being just a payer, that if something happens to you, I'll pay you, but moving away from that and getting into a discussion, how can I make you live a healthy life? What conversation would you prefer, Deepak? Telling you that in an unfortunate circumstances, if you happen to die, your family will get that? Or will you prefer a conversation, sir, while you will get X rupees if something happens to you, but during the entire 10-year life cycle, if something happens to you from a health perspective or to your family members, we are there for you. We are there for you to ensure that you don't get any disease. And unfortunately, if you get it, we are here to treat you, to handhold you to, and get you out of it and cure you as well.
Of course, the
Which
latter.
conversation would you prefer?
Of course, the latter,
Yeah. So over the last 3 years, since 21, we have started to move away from just being a payer of money to the nominee in terms of hand-holding with the customer and focusing on his health and wellness. And you'll see more propositions coming around that space. And that's where our engagement is moving towards, where you can have much more frequent conversations so that the customer always knows about Tata AI and helps us to build our retention as well. And what we have seen, if you do more and more engagement of such nature, you see the stickiness of the customer with that insurance company. Not only with the same policy, but the next policy that he would want to buy, he would evaluate Tata AI, and if the product is best in the world, he would buy it off, which he does.
So this is going above and beyond just protection.
Yes.
This is doing a lot more and taking care of the customer to maintain a long-standing relationship with the customer, so that because it's a long product.
Yes.
Right. So
it's protection only, Deepak, at the end of the day. See, one is protection of life, but this is protection of health. I think we're opening the doors and saying it's not only protection of life, but it's also protection of your health. At the end of the day, savings product which an insurance company sells, it's protection of wealth. Similarly, it's protection of health. So we are there to protect your health as well, so that the customer doesn't fall sick. And in case he falls sick, we are there with you.
My question was, because insurance is a long-term product, 20, 30, 40 years. How do you make sure that you have a long-standing relationship in good spirits with your customers? Because there are not just 1-2 customers, there are millions of customers. And it's a long product. So in essence, it's a long duration product. How do you make sure that you have long-standing good relationships with the customers and they don't leave you and join something else? Or what happens? What do you do in essence to have a long-standing relationship with the customers?
So one is this whole yearly engagement that I spoke about. How do we engage with the consumers much more frequently and much more and relevant interactions?
Correct.
It's not only about calling somebody's on a birthday and says happy birthday and so on. That's age old. We do that. We're not saying that we don't do it. We do that very much in today's day and age. But how can we make it more relevant for the consumer is what we're looking at. And therefore, the health buddy that we're launching across, where we focus on the customer's well-being and make him much more live a healthier and a happier life. I think that's one proposition where it has helped us to get stickiness of the customer, helped us to maintain a long-term relationship as well. What we've also done is also realized, why do customers leave us?
Why is that?
So for example, insurance is a 15-year, 20-year product, as you mentioned. There are customers who come back and say, sorry, I can't pay the premium. I need it for some loan for my daughter's wedding, or could be the education of the child and so on. So we've realized, yes, there are genuine needs which can happen during the life cycle of the contract. Now, how can we meet those dates? So therefore, what we've done is we start giving consumer loans against their policy.
Okay.
And these loans are instant. Earlier, these loans used to take us 3 to 4 days to process.
Yeah.
But now, up to a certain value, we pay loans in seconds. So Deepak, if you walk into a branch and you say, for an X reason or buying a property, I want a loan against your own money which is there with us, we'll give the loan in 1 minute to you into your bank account. So meeting the immediate need of the customer, which is liquidity, in an insurance contract which is locked for 15-20 years.
Correct.
So understanding what does the customer wants, and then seeing how do we actually go ahead and meet them. Now take another twist. Generally, we do this for our savings products. We sell market-linked products as well, where money is invested into the market. Now, typically, an insurance company does not give loan for a unit-linked product as per regulations. What we've done is we've tied up with third partners who will actually offer these loans to the customer without us being in the play.
Okay.
So these loans are given by NBFCs to the customer. And the policy continues to be active where the customer is able to meet his immediate liquidity needs as well. So the key point in maintaining the long-term relationship is, one is how do we continuously engage? The relevant engagement, which is relevant not to the insurer, but relevant more from a consumer standpoint. And third part is understanding the needs of why is he exiting or why is he not renewing the premium with us, and finding out options and solutions, the loan example that I gave of.
Right. Now, this is very interesting because then the customer stays with you even if they have like an immediate
Absolutely.
emergency or liquidity problem.
Yeah.
This gets solved for.
Yes.
In terms of Sanjay, in terms of feedback, there's a lot of customer feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to, and I'm sure you at the chief of operations are looking for customer feedback, right? I'm sure customer feedback is a very pivotal role in terms of getting what the customer is telling you and then implementing that into your services.
See, the first aspect is we collect feedback from our consumers, but that's only one part of the story.
Correct.
And there is a gap out there also which we've started to work on. But if you look at, if today 1,000 customers come and do a transaction with us, as you know, we send links to the customers and we call them up and understand in terms of how this service feedback was, and they give us a score on a rating scale mechanism. Do you know what the percentage of consumers who actually come back with a response and giving a feedback to us? Just take a guess.
Be like 30-40%?
It's a 3 to 4%. A 3 to 4% of the consumers who are transacting with us actually give a feedback.
Okay.
So there are two thoughts in terms of, and then the way we've gone ahead is, even those 3 and 4% are giving us relevant feedback. And therefore, how do we actually work on those feedback and improve ourselves? So that's one mindset for which we've been working for the last so many years, whereby the 3 to 4% gets, if somebody has given us a negative score, we actually call them up, understand in terms of why they have called up, why they've given us a poor score. It's not just taking the poor score and the reasons that he mentions. It's actually calling them up, understanding the granularity of why they have given us a negative score, and then working back in terms of how we can actually resolve them. Now, there are times where the complaints or the feedback, where we've been able to structurally solve it within a day. There are times which it takes us around about 90 to 180 days because it requires a systemic fix and so on and so forth. But what we have a robust process of calling each and every detractor who's given us a negative feedback, working along with the verbatims that he's giving, and then breaking up into actionables and implementing it, be it on people, be it on process or technology. But then over a period, as I mentioned, the 3 to 4% is not good enough for us.
Yeah. That was exactly where I was getting at, because then whenever you've serviced a particular customer, every time we're on a customer care call, we get a call saying, you'll get a customer care feedback. Please rate us on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yep.
10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Now, I've gotten on a call, I've gotten my query resolved. Now, I don't want to pick up feedback call. I don't want to give any feedback because I feel, as a customer, why do I pick up the call? It's too tiring.
My work is done.
My work is done. Why do I give feedback? So the 3 to 4% talking about, should this be increased or should the quality of feedback be?
I think there's an opportunity to do both.
Both. Okay.
So one is, how do we increase the 3 to 4% to a much beyond? We were at very poor percentages. We changed the way we communicated with our consumers. To give you an example, a policy bond typically gets delivered immediately after issuance. We would send a message after 7 to 8 days of the policy getting issued.
Okay.
Now, why 7 to 8 days? Because of the assumption that it would take 1 day for us to print it, the next day to dispatch it, and 4 to 5 days of dispatch time. Therefore, send a message at a time where the customer would have got a policy bond 1 day or 2 days here and there. And therefore, the relevance is there with him.
Correct.
But then we realized that's not helping us in improving or getting us the hit rate on the scores. Only 1% was responding to those surveys. We started sending immediately because we are sending digital copies as well. We're sending a communication to a customer that, hey, your policy has been issued. And there's a digital copy being delivered. Whether he reads or not, that's a different element. So we just changed the timing. Rather than saying T+7, just send it on T+2. Our response rates have jumped up. But is it good? No, it's still a 3 to 4%. And therefore, the point is, how can we two things that we've been discussing internally. How can we scale up these responses and make it more real time? And honestly, our thanks to our board, we've been having these constructive discussions with our board members, and they've been pushing us in terms of how do we increase this 3 to 4 to a 30 to 40%.
Correct.
And therefore, can you take these scores real time as the process is happening? So one is that. Secondly is we have tons of data. So if I know a consumer has bought a policy, he's bought it digitally, got issued within 1 day, policy bond delivered to him on the second day, all being perfectly right, what is the probability that he would give us a negative score?
So can that not happen on WhatsApp?
We send links on WhatsApp as well.
Okay.
But people don't.
Okay.
People don't open up, or if they open, they would not want to give us a score.
Got it.
So therefore, we are toying with the ideas in terms of how can we take these scores up. That's number one. And the second is in terms of using our own internal data. Can we assess whether the customer is a happy customer or a negative customer? And if he's a negative customer, proactively address it rather than he responding to a score and he responding to a survey and saying, I've got a bad score. So if I know by looking at his past data that this customer is going to be a negative detractor, I reach it out to him in advance. Rather than me sending a WhatsApp link, hey, please give me a survey, I will call him up and says, I understand. This is the thing that happened during your policy. We have taken these necessary steps and so on. Rather than he giving us a negative score, we analyzing it and then taking the next
It
step.
becomes a long process.
Absolutely.
Got it.
So we've started to now leverage our internal data to score all our customers rather than 3 to 4% of our customers only giving us scores.
Got it. Interesting. Sanjay, so far, pretty interesting insights on customer service. Last couple of points before we sort of call it today. In terms of claim settlement, I want to talk about claim settlement because that seems to be the biggest pain point for customers. It feels that, I've taken a policy, I've taken a premium, great. But when it comes to claim settlements, it becomes a problem.
Yep.
So what does Tata AIA do and how does Tata AIA tackle that claim settlement process for customers?
See, claims is the ultimate route when it comes down to an insurance policy for an insurer, for a consumer as well. Because buying a policy is meant to be, claims is to be paid out. And for us, I think it's one stated philosophy for us and we're very clear with it. We are here to pay genuine claims. So if a claim is genuine, we will make everything possible to ensure that the claim is getting paid out to the nominee. And we stand by it. Now, insurance is a contract of utmost good faith. And before that, see, what's important for us as well, if you go to see, is Tata is a synonym to trust. The obligation on us is much more higher, to deliver on those values. Plus, at the same time, it's an insurance contract. So, over the years, if you go to see our insurance, our claim settlement ratios are in the top quartile. Now, how do we do it? One is obviously we educate our consumers and we educate our distributors. Because if you see an insurance contract is all about the customer disclosing everything to the insurer and the insurer also disclosing everything about the product features to the customer.
Right.
Now, a lot of times, the consumer and the distributor does not understand in terms of what needs to be disclosed to an insurer. And in my 20 years of long insurance industry experience, there has been no claim which has been rejected if the customer has disclosed everything upfront. I have not seen any claim. If a customer has disclosed everything rightfully upfront,
then the claim has processed.
I have never seen a claim getting declined.
Okay.
Never seen a claim getting declined. There are those times where the consumers missed declaring some aspects of it. There are times where the distributor has missed giving disclosures, which has causes, when we evaluate the claims, we believe that the claims cannot be paid out because there's a cross non-disclosure.
Got it.
And those are the times. And anyway, these claims repudiation, what we talk about, is only in the first 3 years. After the first 3 years have gone by, insurers cannot actually repudiate a claim, cannot deny a claim, unless it's a gross fraud. There's document forgery or death before a policy has been issued. Those are the instances where an insurer can reject after 3 years. But the moment you cross the third year, an insurance company cannot decline as per the law.
Got it.
So therefore, it's the whole important in terms of how do we make our consumers aware of how important these disclosures are from a from a claim settlement perspective.
That's interesting because you also mentioned about frauds happening, and if there's a serious fraud or a document forgery, what does Tata AI do in terms of educating customers about frauds? Because there are a lot of frauds and scams happening these days, especially in the digital space.
I think a lot of steps have been taken by the insurance industry at large as well, by the regulator, informing customers at large, about these spurious calls where somebody calls up and says you have a bonus in your policy.
Yeah.
You pay us 50,000 rupees and you will get this bonus. And the moment he deposits 50,000, the guy is off or he gets a new policy of 50,000. So there have been instances, and therefore the industry at large, the regulator, has been proactively communicating to customers at large. In fact, all our branches, all our customer call centers are trained to handle such complaints. I think the first call of protocol is, if you get a call of such nature, contact the person who sold you this policy or contact Tata AI Life. And we'll let you know whether the call is a genuine one, if there's any bonus which is there, which has to be declared or not declared, and we will help you out rather than relying on some anonymous call coming in. So we have trained our call center executives, our branch executives to manage, and handle these calls with empathy at the end of the day. So we have done that, and proactive communications across to all our consumers of what should they do and what should they not do.
So there are like checks in terms of customers that they should be doing this versus they should
Absolutely.
not responding to fraud calls and not giving any confidential information to any random person who's calling.
And we generally, as a practice, is being in the BFSI industry, financial services industry, we don't ask customers to share their OTPs and so on.
Correct. That's a clear indication if somebody's asking.
Absolutely. We're very clear.
Got it. Sanjay, what do you think is the last, in terms of the next 4-5 years, the emerging tech trends that you see happening, which can enhance customer experience?
It's going to be in terms of how we can get a lot of personalized offers to our consumers, giving journeys and giving offers, and putting the customer in the center of everything, giving him the control.
Okay.
An interesting thing that I was going across the other day, and a reflection also as well. We talk about simplifying our journeys and so on. And we've done simplification of our journeys as well to a huge extent.
Right.
But there are consumers who've come back and told us, hey, you've simplified the journey, but you've taken the control away from me. Because you've not given me the freedom to do what I want. You are saying you can buy X product for X sum assured for X term. That's it. A 3-click or a 5-click or a 10-click journey. But no, I want to experiment. I want to understand various options. I want to play around with the journey and be in control of things.
Correct.
So you giving me a simplified journey, but you're imposing that on me. This is the customer. And therefore, I read an article, and then it so happened that this customer spoke to me, and I read the article at the same time. I don't know what transpired, but it happened at the same time. And it's a true reflection. So the point is, hyper-personalization will definitely come in, but how can we give the control in the hands of the customer is going to be the key. Third is, how can we make his life much more simpler? The DIY, do-it-yourself options is going to come across very much out there.
Okay.
How we can, using his own data, actually give him a better experience. I think these are some of the things that are going to change the insurance landscape in the coming 3 to 4 years.
And it'll be interesting for customers to experience something like this.
Absolutely.
It'll change the entire customer experience landscape.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining in and throwing in your valuable insights on the entire spectrum and the entire yada yada of customer experience. Last segment is the rapid fire segment. I have a couple of questions. So I have 5 questions. Let's get started. The biggest challenge in customer experience today?
I think understanding the true needs of a customer.
One word to describe Tata AI's approach to customer service?
Empathy.
A must-know tip for policyholders to simplify their insurance journey?
Keep your loved ones and your nominee aware of what policy they have bought, so that it becomes handy for them when they really need it.
And the last one is one book, podcast, or resource you'd recommend on customer experience?
Not a podcast or a book, but an article that I read on LinkedIn, as I mentioned to you 5 minutes back. It so happened that the customer gave me the feedback, and I read that article at the same point in time. While we're talking about simplification of journeys, it's a LinkedIn article by a person whom I follow. Seeing in terms of give the journey so that the customer feels that he's in control, and that is going to help the customer build trust with the company, be it an insurer, be it banking, or be it anything.
Right.
And that person has scaled it up in terms of he's tested it out and he's really scaled up his conversion rates as well. But that's a really a different thought. I mean, all these years we've been thinking, how do we make the journey simplified rather than actually how do we give the control to the customer and therefore regaining his trust.
And that's the conversation
Absolutely.
which needed to be had.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, for having and
Pleasure is all mine.
giving your time and having this conversation today. I hope you had fun on the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, Deepak. Thanks
Thank you
a lot.
so much. Thank you so much for our audience who's been tuned in for this conversation. If you like the video, you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe to the channel for more such content. Till then, see you around. Thank you so much for watching.